show on a canal boat. It's two characters tell the story of Dockfield, which is where they both grew up. One of them still has lived in Dockfield for all their life, one of them has moved away, and the two of them tell the history of their their place where they grew up, and at the same time they're kind of negotiating how that history has impacted them and helped shape them in the quite different life journeys that they've had. So it's a kind of theatre that you call micro theatre, in that it's built for quite small audiences. And it's a storytelling theatre piece. So basically the audience come onto our canal boat, which is it's a working boat, not a narrow boat. So it's a bit bigger than you'd actually imagine if you've not been on a working boat before. And they sit around the table, audiences of up to 12 at a time. And the story happens on a big table in the middle. And as the story gets told, the map is built of the industrialisation of Dockfield, and then we then see the map shift and change through the time. And then we also see the map shift and change when it becomes deindustrialised as well. So we see that transition.
Yeah, so the project really began a few years ago as a community engagement project in the Dockfield area of Shipley, and kind of finding out about the community there and how what their history was and their memories of growing up in that area and so on. But what we found after we made this play was that actually it also worked in other places, and it really doesn't matter if people know Dockfield as a place, because there's enough in there about the history of the place and people's relationships with it in the sense of community or the sense of children's play in that area and so on, that lots of people from different places kind of identify with different bits of it. And so what we do is have a conversation after each performance to find out what people are connecting with or disconnecting with or whatever. So it was always made as a piece that was designed to spark conversation, initially, as I say, in Dockfield, and now it sparks all sorts of conversations about all sorts of other things.
I thought the performance was just absolutely charming, so intimate, so different, and I learned loads about a place that I've been a lot, but really know nothing about, despite living here for a few years.
I actually learned a lot, especially from not being from the area. It was very enjoyable to find out a little bit of local history, and I felt that I could visit the area and actually see everything that they talked about in the play and enjoy it and get a feel for what's gone on.
The way that the landscape was built up, that as the story developed, was really great, and the cast were pulling things out of these bags, and you just didn't quite ever know what was going to come next. And sometimes they'd pull something out that was just so bizarre or so rogue, and then it just made this wonderful patchwork of just the most bizarre items like biscuits and tiny cows. Just brilliant, bonkers.
It was very engaging, really enjoyable. The way that the two people delivering the play, they interacted really well and made it come alive. Yes, very engaging, very enjoyable.
Just upstream, Titus Salt is building Saltaire, and right around here there are two textile mills, that's wool mills, that have set up shop.
Junction Mill, right next to Junction Bridge, sorry horsey, where it still is.
That's right, and Dock Mill, down here beside the river.
This was just only over 100 years ago, but up until then, people in Shipley were just emptying the business into open middens and cesspits, and it'd just sit there stinking until wagons came round to collect it. Oh, it must have been foul.
The partners in the project who have really helped us make this happen, first are Air Rivers Trust, who run a project called DN-Air, Developing the Natural Air. And then the other major partner in the project is Canal Connections, and they do more socially based work that's about helping young people develop their job prospects, but all based around heritage and waterways and the canals and canal boats.
We feel it very important to be a part of this work because of the way that multi-storey water and hydro citizenship has captured people's stories, and it's then used those stories to inspire other people. Again, this is something that we've incorporated into our work, and so I think it's just wonderful to see the setting actually set on a boat, which is part of a person's journey as well as just a boat journey. So I think it's very, very symbolic to be there, and it's lovely the where we are set, the river is only just there. So this, again, this symbiotic relationship between the river and the canal is very, very important to the work that we do.
So this is part of developing natural air, and we're doing it as part of celebrating the return of Atlantic salmon to our river. They're a really important part of our natural heritage, but they're not the only part of the heritage of our river. There's lots of industrial and community heritage along the river, and we want to do something that drew them all together and really connected people to the river. We want people to realise how much the river is part of our landscape and part of our lives, and how important it is, and why we need to treasure it, really.
We talked to Canal Connections, who are old friends, and they negotiated the boat that we're on, the Ribble, which is wonderful, and it fits perfectly on there. And I think also that's been something that's attracting audiences. It's quite an unusual offer to come and see a play on a boat. And conceptually also it just works, because what the DNR project is about is kind of about the movement of fish up the River Aire, now that these fish passes have been put on all the old industrial weirs. And so in the same way, the boat is making its way upriver, or up canal technically, along the Aire Valley, to kind of mirror that movement. So the boat is the salmon, for the sake of my conceptual art head. But nobody else needs to know that necessarily.